My guest today is Fernando De Nuñez y Lugones, and we just had a really interesting conversation. Fernando gave us an inside look at what it takes to succeed in the new development real estate industry, and we talked about his accomplished professional background and how the One Sotheby's new development team is leading the thriving Miami real estate market. He also gave us an introspective look at his motivation to set industry precedents and why implementing strong technology is imperative. Fernando De Nuñez y Lugones. Such a pleasure seeing you. Thank you so much for joining today in Spark's ongoing series featuring prominent people behind the influential new development projects in the US. I must say, today's already been an exceptional day. Our team at Spark has just finished meeting with your new development real estate team at One Sotheby's to officially kick off onboarding your project portfolio onto our software. So we're quite proud to finally be working together.
No, thank you, Jessica, for hosting me. And the reality that has been long ways in the making. So thank you for all your effort and time for the entire Spark team. We're very excited about this new opportunity, and I'm sure they're going to be very successful working together.
I'm almost certain that all of our viewers will already know who you are, but if I may, I'd like to do the honors of introducing some of your most impressive accomplishments and accolades. You are the Executive VP of the Development Division of One Sotheby's International Realty. You have been the driving force behind that division's expansion since 2015, which is now composed of 20 plus new development projects valued at $3 billion in new development inventory. Prior to that, you acted as VP of International Division for Fortune International Realty for over 12 years. You acted as COO of NetJuice Latin America, a leading internet incubator in Spain. You spent almost 10 years in investment banking, eventually becoming head of origination and syndication for Santander Investments, based out of New York and Madrid, focusing on emerging markets and fixed income. You have a master's degree in economic development, and you earned that with honors. And while you were doing all of that, you managed to author a book called Internet Business Models, a Post-Crisis Vision. And I know as of most recently, you've been accepted into Harvard and you are undergoing your AMDP program. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I don't know, part of my upbringing is always to try to reach excellence and to try to do the best in everything that you do, from sports, academically, and more important as a person. So moral integrity is a big part of who I am, and that one of the reasons why I joined One Sotheby's, because I believe in the leadership of the company, and I feel that's the most important thing, because once you reach a certain age, you just want to be surrounded with people you feel comfortable, that you feel understood, and in a way you feel home. And that's very important at this stage of my career. So I'm very excited to be part of this amazing team.
Let's take a step back. Let's back it up. You know, I've explained a little bit about your accomplishments, but maybe in your own words, can you help our viewers understand the journey of how you got your start in the industry? You know, what led you to who you are today and where you are today?
Well, that's an interesting question. The reality is that I started this totally by chance. I would never expected to work in real estate. All my life, I wanted to be an investment banker. So that's why I studied economics. That's why I have been studying finances on the side a long time, many courses about derivatives, about structured products and things that I like and enjoy. I was a teacher assistant for econometrics, so I always been strong in math, and so finances came easy to me. If you understand math, the finances concept becomes normal in your life. But it reached a point in my career where I was just seeing the screens, and I was seeing, okay, I have this asset under management, that's my P&L, and it became empty. So when the opportunity came, when I was writing the book that you just described, I was in Miami. Part of the book was an interview about 20 successful CEOs that launched their ventures into the market in 2000 and 2001. And the reality was that someone hired me to set up a real estate fund in real estate because of my experience in structuring products. And since I was writing a book, it was a great fit. I didn't have any earnings at that point, so I said, okay, why not to do it? So, but I didn't have any clue about real estate. The reality is that it was totally unexpected, but the legal part was easy. And then I started seeing, as I started preparing the fund and understanding the underwriting process and understanding what is the investment thesis and so on, I started to realize that I really like it. And when the opportunity, after set up the fund, the first investment in the fund was for a project called J. Brickell that was being developed by Fortune International. That's how I met the owners of Fortune, and eventually they offered me a job. So it was a little bit challenging, but I took the leap of faith because I really like the industry. My mother's an architect, my grandfather's an architect. I've been surrounded by floor plans all my life. And I remember when I was little, I was just picking up all my mother tools and started designing things. I really like it. I have great memories of that time in my life. So the reality was that I accepted it. And that's how we started in real estate. And the job was to become the managing director of operational finance of the Realty operation. Then I moved into new developments that I feel that was a much better fit for me. In a way, my economic background helped me a lot to be able to communicate successfully what was going on in this city that is growing at such a rapid pace that it's difficult for people to understand. So that's how I started in this industry, and I couldn't be more excited to be part of it.
It sounds like it was a perfect blend of your background, your education, your personal experiences, all kind of leading you to this moment in real estate. And you're certainly not afraid of a little hard work. It just needs to be done. And it's amazing what you can accomplish.
That's true. That's one of the big learning experience of working in New York and London, is that you need to develop a certain work ethic. You're surrounded by the best of the best. And the reality that if you want to be successful, you need to go the extra mile. Is to be intelligent is not good enough in certain industries. You need to put the effort and the time, and to have the personality and the commitment to try to reach that level of excellence. And I feel that that has been very important, is to have a discipline and organized mind in order to achieve the goals little by little. I see that success comes like a domino effect. You just need to move the parts correctly, so one start hitting the other until you reach like bigger goals.
I want to talk a little bit about Florida and South Florida, Miami. I know that it's one of the #1 tourism destinations and one of the best places to do business right now in America. I know you certainly know a lot about it. What's driving its growth? Where do you see it going in the future?
Well, in real estate, you have certain fundamentals that needs to be present in order to have a successful real estate market. One of them is demographic growth. We're enjoying a tremendous demographic growth. Florida has surpassed the state of New York and now is the third most populated state in the country. And that's how politically, we have seen Florida being a very big swing state in terms of elections and becoming more politically relevant because of the diversity and, of course, the amount of delegates. No? But the most important thing is this population growth is coming mostly because of a huge immigration that is hitting Florida every year. Just to give you an idea, in the last 5 years, previous to 2020, we were having between 300 and 350,000 people moving to Florida every single year. And the last year and this year is expecting to be in the vicinity of 500,000 people. So this actual migration, it is a reality. So when the people tell me, oh, your guys are overbuilding, there is an excess of supply, the question is in which segment? Because one thing is if you're just trying to build things for the ultra rich people, that's what's happening pretty much in the last cycle, instead of having affordable housing or houses for millennials, there is more micro units, because what the people they don't understand that this demographic growth is being fueled by several aspects. Number one is quality of life. We cannot deny that we have the best quality of life in the United States. We can go into the ocean pretty much year round. In California, you can do it for 3 months if you're brave. And I love California, by the way, but the water is cold. The only thing we're missing is mountains. And that's the only thing that you guys have in Vancouver that's so beautiful. But the reality that we have, how do you measure lifestyle? It's a very interesting question because, and as an economist, I always try to measure lifestyle. And so I put together like a mini mathematical system in my mind that is based in the linear foot of water. Is based on the number of golf courses per inhabitant, the number of tennis courts per inhabitant, the number of marine sleep per inhabitants. And the reality is we're unbeatable. And so in the way that this is progressing is that it's a virtual cycle. The more high-end restaurants and retailers arrive, the more developers are catering that demographic, and we have better buildings being built. And if you see the branded residences that we have in Miami, is the #1 market in the world for branded residences. And that is something that will continue to happen in this new development cycle that is starting this year. For instance, we're launching the first diesel condominium project in Wynwood that is a super trendy area. We're going to be seeing new hotel brands here in the hospitality market and the residence branded residences. We're going to be having very, very cool projects here in the market. We've seen that initially the branded residence started with the hospitality industry, then they moved into fashion, like they Fendi, Armani, and then they moved to the cars, and we have Porsche, Aston Martin, now we have Bentley coming to Miami. So all these type of things are very exciting because that each development here is not competing via pricing, it's competing via quality. So it's who has the best brand, who has the best architect, who has the best interior designer. So the average quality of the projects are moving up so rapidly that it's very difficult to understand the pricing structure of Miami, because you can be one building next to the other, and one being 4 times more expensive than the other on a price per foot basis. So this very heterogeneous, and that's how that is when you're really good at this business is when you truly understand how to maximize the price per square foot that developers can achieve. Number 2, we're having the biggest migration of tech companies into financial companies into the Miami arena for 3 main reasons. We have, geopolitically speaking, we are in an unbeatable position to reach out the Caribbean, Latin America, Africa, Europe, and most of the United States, because we have direct flights to many, many destinations. Please remember that in the Miami airport, we have the hub of American Airlines. That is a very important part of the puzzle in our economy. Secondly, we are having all these companies relocating to Miami because Miami is ranked top 5 in terms of internet speed. And that's crucial for these industries. And the people don't know that, but because we have the map of the Americas, that all the internet from Latin America is being pretty much sent from downtown Miami. So that's why companies are, and the new innovation center is getting closer and closer to downtown, because if you're running a hedge fund, a microsecond in terms of the algorithm, in terms of trading, could make a big difference in the year return of your fund. So that's people are coming to this market. The other thing that is interesting, besides the corporate migration, that is bringing high-paying jobs into the city, because tech and finances are high-paying jobs, correct? And before, Florida was coming from an agriculture state, then it was a hospitality industry, and then we have like cheap living for people retiring from the middle America, and all of a sudden it's one of the most dynamic cities in the world. So this has happened in very few years. So there's people that came to Miami a few years ago and they don't have a clue what Miami is today, because I remember during the 2008, 2010 crisis, 200 restaurants opened in Miami, 200.
Wow.
So the city is transforming very rapidly. So we have demographic expansion, new job creation because of this corporate relocation. We have an unparalleled tax advantage, because in the United States you have 3 levels of taxation as in your personal income: the federal taxes, the state taxes, and the city taxes. In here, we don't have state taxes and city taxes. So if you're living in New York, you're paying about 13% more in taxes if you're making over $250,000 than what you're paying in Miami. And with the new changes, the ultra rich over $1 million in income, we have pretty much, by relocating to Miami, all the housing experience being paid by the saving in taxes. So why I'm going to be living in a 2-bedroom apartment in New York, paying a fortune when I can have a 4-bedroom apartment overlooking the ocean, and it's for free, because that's the taxes that I'm saving by not being in New York, correct? So that's what's going on. So so that's why at the very beginning, the migration was coming mostly from the Northeast. But now we have California as one of the most important feeder markets for us because the tech companies are coming here. You have cheaper offices, cheaper employment. You have true bilingual, in a way, workforce with a good level of education, workforce that is cheaper, office cheaper, better taxes, better weather, and great connectivity for internet and great connection with the world. So that's what is making this like pretty much like a success story. I could go for hours, Jessica, so please ask me another question.
You've sold me, and I think you've probably sold our company Spark. I think we're ready to open up a new office in Miami. check.
I will call
Faster
Simon.
internet.
Yeah, I will call him.
All of
So,
the elements of success, lower taxes, amazing. Let's go.
yeah.
On that note, if I'm going to relocate to Miami, where do I live? I can think of a place that's pretty extraordinary. One of your upcoming projects. Do you want to tell us about 1000 Museum?
Well, 1000 Museum has been the flagship of our division. It was like a dream. We started in 2013, and we have now in the final countdown, we were like 6 to 8 units left, depending so far hard contracts. But it has been a long way. It's one of the tallest buildings in Miami. It's a very narrow plate. It is has a beautiful view of the port of Miami. It's extremely nice, and it's amazing because even in the fifth floor, you have these unparalleled views that is just out of this world. So, and even that's the parking lot, So it's so nice. The views that the other day we were having a photo shoot for all of us, all the leadership team at the rooftop where we have the helipad. So it's the only residential building with helipad. So it was designed by Zaha Hadid. That was a great example in how we promote properties and we do things differently than other companies. We did the launch of this project with the Sotheby's auction house in London with Zaha Hadid, just with a very special group of people. They are collectors and they appreciate architecture. So that's the type of marketing initiative that we can do that no one else can. So 1000 Museums is a true testament of keeping a relation with the developer alive for 6 years and going through the bad, the good, and the ugly. We've seen it all. And the most important lesson with this project is that when you have a team that trusts each other and they can work collaboratively and you can face challenge and have an open line of communication, you can make it a success. Because this was by far the most challenging buildings to sell ever. For this, because when we launched the project, we were 2.5 higher than the building next door in a price per square foot basis, and we were 4 times larger the average size of the unit in this location. So from the nominal point of view, we were like 8 times more expensive than the other relative. So we needed to create a market. And when you create a market, it's very difficult because this is a project that is located in a very urban setting and environment with fantastic water views, but they don't have access to the ocean. You have a very large unit. You have half floor units and full floor units, about 4,650 and 10,000 square feet units. And I believe that the project we will always believe in the project that we represented it, but until it was finished, it was like a big question mark because there has been a lot of developers that promise a certain level of quality, and at the end, people got disappointed with the end product. And I feel this project was all the way around. Everyone was skeptical because it looks very fancy from the outside. And said, okay, how is it truly going to be living here? It's a very different aesthetics, it's a very different vibe. And the fact that you have exterior structure called the skeleton of the building is the exoskeleton, that's the outside structure of buildings. You have a lot of large spaces and large hallways to do like mini art galleries inside your apartments. And once you see it done, it's just fantastic, And so, after the acquisition of David Beckham, it was like also, again, it's a domino effect. The people that really put us in the map, the internet exposure that we got after that acquisition, we have about 400 million impressions. It's brutal. And we use all our marketing arsenal. We use our affiliates, corporate, PR. So it was a great example of what we can achieve if we were given something special. So yeah, it's very dear to our heart, especially for our founder, Maggie de la Vega. She's been from day one. That's her baby, and she deserves a tons of credit because she believed in the project from the very beginning. And she stuck there for 6 years working every single week in the project, and we're very proud of what we have achieved.
That's an incredible experience throughout all of those years to go through all of those cycles. And looking at the architecture, it certainly stands out amongst the other towers nearby, just from what I've seen. My comment was that from my perspective, the architecture really stands out quite exceptionally amongst the other towers. And with something that's kind of new to market, were there any challenges that the developer had or any of your team had in getting it to market in the early days, and how did you overcome them?
The reality was one of the main challenges was the construction itself. As a matter of fact, there is a series called Impossible Build that has been featured. You can find it in YouTube. That is a 60-minute video and how difficult it was to build this project because of the exterior of the buildings would sustain the building as a skeleton, as I mentioned before. And all the pieces were prefabricated in Dubai and shipped to Miami. And at one point, there was such a big demand when Miami, Panama, and Dubai, they were competing for the main elements of the construction, that it was very difficult to get the pieces on time because the shipping industry was going to the best bidders. So the challenge was also to try to keep this project in time. So that has been one of the big challenges. And the other challenge is that the size of this project, in a way, exceeded the track record of the developers at the beginning of the project. So that was something that was very important to use the one Sotheby's brand, Zaha Hadid, to bring Enea Gardens to be very well put together to bring credibility to the project. And I feel that they've done a remarkable job. The developers are extremely intelligent people. They have a huge vision. It has been an honor to represent them.
That's an interesting challenge you had, or the developer had. So thank you for sharing that. Certainly not an easy project to get to market. My next question was going to be a little bit about One Sotheby's and your new development division. I feel like you've done an exceptional job painting the picture of how your team operates and some of the marketing strategies you've taken and the work ethic. But tell us a little bit about kind of the strategic advantage that your team has, and maybe kind of relating to some of the innovative technologies you're using that really makes you stand out as a new development division.
Jessica, I'm not going to give you the secret sauce, but I will share with you a few things.
How about some pepper and salt? Just a little topping.
Just a little bit. No, the reality is that we have a very diverse team in terms of geographical origin, academic backgrounds. We have 14 people in the division, and what we're learning is how to play better together. Our goal is to be like Barcelona, like we know we each one is standing at each point, and the ball just get to us. So the reality is that one of the main things as a company, I feel that technology has been a very important component of our success. The second component was marketing. I feel that marketing, we have an unrivaled marketing capabilities. And number three, we have a very talented sales team in most of our jobs. We have tremendous sales team in place. And I feel it's also the ownership and the leadership component that is just to keep everything together. It's like being a developer, you just need to do a little bit, you need to do every single thing needs to be well done, and you need to be very diverse because the development division runs as a company. So it has an accounting component, marketing component, sales component, operations component, legal component. So it's just how to structure all this to grow in a way that is systematic, and we keep improving and being able to absorb more workload, and how to do the things faster and better, and how we create new distribution channels that they are not traditional channels. Everyone can have a database of brokers, but one of the things that we're most proud of is that 23% of our sales are done without brokers. And that is because of our marketing capabilities. And in turn, that's generated enormous amount of savings to our developers. I feel that's very important. And the other thing that our agents have been a very strong supporters. And the strategy that Danny de la Vega, our president, has set up, that we have been acquiring companies, acquiring territories up north that enable us to expand our portfolio geographically and to have more agents that are supporting our efforts. And that is key, because when we meet a developer, we can have certainty that historically we have 23% of the sales without a broker and about 20% of the sales coming from our own agents. And that is a tremendous added value that we bring to the table. So I feel that has been key to our success.
Yeah, you're not just opening up the doors and letting people come in. You've thought this through. It's quite a strategy. That's excellent. And based off of some of the technologies that you've been exposed to, and we've already mentioned we're quite proud to be working together. Why did you select Spark to support your efforts?
Look, that has been a long discussion internally. We even thought about creating a platform for ourselves, so we had a very clear understanding of the vision of what we wanted. We have interviewed many companies, and Spark was by far the one that has the most user-friendly interface. That is critical, because all the information that you gather, if at the entry point, that is the receptionist or the sales rep, they don't do that part correctly because they feel that the system is difficult, everything that we do later is incorrect. We don't understand the demographics, or the data is incomplete. So all these type of things, I felt that the usability of a project of the Spark platform is much better than other one that we have tried. Secondly, for us was critical to have a single platform that could integrate all our projects. At one point, we having 4 coexisting platforms running, because we inherited projects that have a different platform. Some of the project was too small to have a platform. So the way that we structure our partnership with you guys enable us to really integrate all our projects in a single umbrella, and to have dashboards that we can understand what's going on very quickly. Because remember, we're in 7 different counties, we have 20 projects, so we have good memory, but there reach a point that you need a system. So I feel that integration of the portfolio was very important, at least for ownership and for myself. The other thing that I feel that is something that was critical was integration with the contract platform, where we can do the DocuSign capabilities and also the verification of identity, that since we're expecting the international markets to become more and more active again after the third quarter because of the vaccination programs and the recovery of some of the currencies in Latin America because of the commodity prices are going up, especially oil, corn, copper. So we feel that to have a verification of identity in a market that has been historically known for having some potential frauds and potential money laundering, we wanted to give a different layer of security to our developers that were doing our job to try to bring legitimate buyers to the equation, and no one else is doing this. So I feel that is another value that we want to bring to the table. And I feel that also what I really love is the support that we're having with the migration. You guys have been tremendous, and my team is super happy, so I'm happy. So I don't have a lot of fires to put, so everything's going very smooth, and we're very happy with the support that you guys put in place.
Oh, thank you, Fernando. Happy team, happy Fernando. I'm going to write that one down. We'll be sure to remember.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about some introspective questions. We kind of already touched on this earlier. I love to ask my guests kind of a career-defining moment that really shaped you. Maybe it was a project you worked on, or it was just a moment in your career where you knew that it set you on the right path. And how has that inspired you?
Well, believe it or not, that moment is when I joined Sotheby's. I feel that everything came into place. I feel that I always admired the Sotheby's brand. My grandfather was an art collector. My father's an art collector. As a matter of fact, my grandfather has had an antique store that was a cover up because he was the head of the Secret Service for France for the South Cone of Latin America. So and so his cover up was antique. So while most of my friends were playing soccer on the weekend, I was buying antiques with my grandfather and my father, and they tortured me if I needed to recognize where the carpets were from, where the silver was from. And so I had a very different upbringing of most of my friends that now I appreciate it. Back then, I promise I didn't appreciate it that much, but in a way that made it somehow different. I remember my first trip to Europe, my father forced me to go to one museum per day. And then I was having tests at night if I could recognize it as a piece of art. So I feel it was different. And so I love Sotheby's. I met Maya and Daniel, that are the owners of the company, and I really, really click with them because I click with them from the work ethic and the moral standards and the involvement in the company. They're extremely hands-on. They have a clear vision of growth, and for me at this point of my career is to work with people that you feel comfortable with and you trust them, and in a way you feel protected and you feel that they give you enough freedom to create and the trust for you to evolve and to take a division and to try to improve it every day. And I'm very happy and blessed to be part of this amazing team. So I feel that has been very important as well. And finally, was, as you mentioned before, was the mix of all my knowledge. I mean, because when you're in new development, you can just be a salesperson and try to just to wing it, or you can really understand the capital stack of the project. You can understand the architecture. You can really go with the programming. You can know your vendors. You can know what's going on in the market, your feeder markets, get to know all these people. And I feel that that's what we're all about, which really trying to go the extra mile in a way when you're a latecomer in an industry, because we're pretty much the last company to create a development division in Miami. And Miami is one of the most competitive markets in the marketplace. Remember, we have all the New York companies here. We have 3 or 4 very strong local companies doing new developments, and you have all the international companies in Miami. So we're competing with everyone. That's a reality. So when you're a latecomer, you need to do things differently. And the way that I envision the division is that we really need to go the extra mile in order to beat these people. They have more established or more established track records, and by doing things better and to try harder. I remember when Avis became the second better company in the marketplace in the car rental. The slogan was "We try harder," and that's pretty much what I learned when I was studying business, and that's part of my life. Just try harder. It's like, I mean, I play rugby in Europe, and I've done sports all my life until I broke every single bone in my body and I couldn't do it. But the reality is that when you play sports, you understand the concept of that there's an effort. You need to have a lot of effort to get your rewards. And so we just try harder. That's the reality.
I love that. And I'm so in awe of everything that you've done and your interesting background, what you're doing. I got to ask, where do you source your inspiration for now? From, online magazines, when you travel, like what fills you up? What gives you that source of inspiration?
Wow, that's I never respond to this question in my life. So my biggest inspiration has been my family. I was surrounded by extremely intelligent people all my life. My grandmother has a PhD in chemistry. My mother was a teacher in the architecture university in 2 or 3 subjects. My father has done 3 careers at the same time. So for me, failure was not an option. I was going to be kicked out of the house otherwise. But the reality is that my inspiration comes of really knowing who I am and who I want to become. And the most important thing that in every single aspect of my life, I know that I'm not perfect, and I just try to keep evolving and improving from learning new languages. This year alone, I was focusing mostly about my self-discovery. I was a different part of my life. Perhaps when you turn 50, you say, okay, what I've done so far, where I did commit mistakes, where I need to go, what I want for the next 10 years, what I want for my family, for my kids. So the inspiration is coming from all angles. You just need to be alert, because every single person that comes your way, you might learn something from them. If you have your mind and your heart open to listen to people and to listen to feedback and advice. And you have the humility to say, you know, something, I might be smart, but I don't know it all, you know, and you can continue to improve. And that's pretty much the path that I'm in right now. Hopefully I will stay in this path because I'm I'm happy with the person I'm becoming this year. So
You are filled with incredible advice. And my one of my questions was going to be, someone who's looking up to you and saying, wow, I wish to be in his shoes one day, in some kind of capacity. He inspires me. What kind of advice would you give that up and comer?
well, the reality is that, again, I feel that effort always pay off. I read so many books about intelligence versus effort and commitment, and at the end, the second always wins. So there's no shortcut, guys. I mean, the reality is that every single day you need to put something extra on the table to get to the level that you want to be. That's one thing. The second thing is that don't have self limitations. I had it for many, many years in my mind, saying, okay, what is enough in terms of income, position, knowledge, languages, culture, and there's no limits. It's all up to you. You know, it's depending how much effort you can devote your time watching social media, or you can be learning a language. You know, you can devote time to do sports or being eating ice cream. So every single thing define who you're going to become. And one of the biggest advice is surround yourself with people that are mentally healthy and they are better than you. Um, the reality I've seen lately in my life, a lot of people that I care dearly, that they have chosen to be in not perhaps with the best company, and they are not going to achieve their full potential if you're not achieving with someone that inspire you and want to really try to be the better version of yourself. Um, it's very important who you hang out with at work and outside of work. So that perhaps is the best advice I can give you.
I can definitely understand that one. It's incredible how much you absorb depending on who you surround yourself with and the impact that that has on your motivation, your inspiration, your future, the way you conduct yourself. That's a powerful one. I appreciate that advice.
Thank you, Jessica.
So let's wrap up here. We've been chatting for a little while, and you've had some incredible responses to some of my very simple questions. Let's talk about what's coming up. We've talked about the very notorious project that you've already worked on. What's upcoming? What are you watching? What are you working on? Any design trends that you're excited about? Tell us anything you would like.
Well, I'm very excited about the immediate project that we're launching, and more excited about what we're going to be launching towards this year. So far this year, we increased our inventory over $1,080,000, 1,080,000,000. And one of the main projects we launched was our first international project called Bahamar, that is composed by the Rosewood Residences and the SLS Residence in the Bahamas. So it was a fantastic learning curve, working with our local affiliates called Damiano Sotheby's and Bahamas Sotheby's. And it has been a great experience. I mean, it's our first international project. So we're all in, we're learning, and we're excited. It's a beautiful property. And that was a very nice experience. We're launching in the upcoming weeks, Diesel Wynwood. There's 150 units in Wynwood. We're going to have units starting in the mid 300s, like studios up to $4 million penthouses with a very urban environment, a very masculine design, amazing location, almost half a block from Main and Main in Wynwood. So we're very excited about that project. It's something very different, very New Yorker. People will appreciate this, especially people from the Northeast, Toronto. I mean, I feel that's going to be a great fit for those markets. We're launching the first, in a way of this scale, car storage facility in a condominium format. There is a 20-acre site in Palm Beach, just minutes away from the racetrack and the private airport. That's going to be designed by Pininfarina. It's called Victoria by Pininfarina, and Pininfarina is with a legendary design for cars. So we're going to have suites where you're going to be able to have 3 cars in the first floor, and you have a mezzanine in the second floor with living room, bathroom, and kitchenette. So it's like a man cave in a way. And you're going to have that tweaking track, and then we're going to have a massive glass structure we call the spa, that is an AC garage with a lounge. We're going to have a Pininfarina, car simulators, and food and beverage operation. And the entire entertainment concept will be done by Jake Productions. That is the company that has done the U2 and Rolling Stone world tours. So it's super cool.
Wow,
We're
that
going to
is
be
so exciting.
Yeah, we're going to be redefining the way auctions are done with cars with Jake Productions. It's going to be very interactive online. It's a very cool experience where we're putting together. So we have been working this project from day one. We're pretty much helping the developers in every single way. And it's something cool because something totally new. So we're very excited about this one. Then we're launching another very innovative project called Urban that is going to have 2 locations, one in Coconut Grove and the other one in Miami Beach. That is the underlying asset is a co-living space where the developer will be managing the asset, and he's going to be offering a 7% net return to the buyers as a lease back transaction. And in addition to that, the buyers will have the right to use the property for 60 to 90 days. So that's fantastic for the international market, because in every single travel, people would ask me, I want something in Miami that give a good investment return and I can use it. And say, here we go. Most of our condominiums, you can only rent it twice a year for 6 months. So it doesn't work. So this is a great concept because you have a lot of unit type from a studio to 6-bedroom units. So it's great for, you can fit any demographic. It's starting in the mid $300,000. So it's going to be, we feel that it's going to be an in and out. Hopefully, I'm not mistaken about this one, but I feel it's a great product for even for Asia or for India, Latin America, so and even for Canada. The locations are just fantastic. It's in the heart of Coconut Grove and the heart of Miami Beach. So we don't see why this will not be a total success. So these are the 4 immediate projects that we're launching. Then we have some very cool projects hitting the market in the 3rd and 4th quarter, very big ones. And we're working a lot to try to put together very distinctive programming. So we have an amazing experience for the buyers. So we're very excited about the year ahead.
Yes, very excited to follow along in the success of these.
And I
What an
forgot
exciting year
something.
for you.
Another issue that I would like to discuss is we have been the #1 company representing condo offices, and we have just acquired the remaining inventory of Oficina in Coral Gables. Coral Gables is a very well-established neighborhood, very close to the airport and very close to Brickell. And we have an office that's just being completed. So we have moving residents, moving offices to move in, and with the relocation of all these companies to Miami, also we believe it's going to be a tremendous success.
Beautiful. Where can our viewers get in touch with you if they want to do business with you, if they want to find out about a project, sign up? Where's the best place online?
Okay. Yes, you can reach us in One Sir Developments in Instagram. Or you can just send me an email of fdn@onesothebyrealty.com, and you can reach us by phone 305-394-5478. So thank you, Jessica, for promoting us. That's so.
Of course. Thank you so much, Fernando. That pretty much wraps up my questions. Fernando, thank you again for coming on. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you. You bring so many insights to every conversation that we have. You're successful. You have an unwavering appetite for learning and continuing your education, and you're forward thinking, you're a visionary, and it's pretty humbling to be able to have an hour of your time to chat about the market and what's coming up in technology. So thank you, Fernando.
No, thank you, Jessica, and the entire Spark team for having me. It has been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to visit your headquarters soon as the Canada frontiers are open. Thank you so much, guys. I hope to see you soon in person.
Thank you.